Hello and good morning. Here is the news at 10. First, the highlights. The Lagos State government commences maintenance work on bridges. Federal government cautions labor against threat to declare a nationwide strike. And the foreign in Ukraine, President Zelensky socks head of armed forces. And in sports, organizers of Lagos City Marathon confirms participation of over 80 elite runners. And now the details. I am Mike James. In line with its policy on bridge maintenance and management and global quality assurance and quality control practice, the Lagos State government has commenced routine maintenance works on pedestrian and vehicular bridges in the state. Special advisor to the governor on infrastructure, Olufemi Daramola, said this while inspecting the extent of ongoing works on Kudeso Bridge in the Ikeja local government area of the state. He urged stakeholders to support the contractors on site to ensure timely delivery of the maintenance works, while reiterating the commitment of the government to the timely delivery of the project. The special advisor said the state government is not unmindful of the inconvenience the maintenance works would have on commuters, appealing for patience and cooperation from the motoring public. Daramola affirmed the Babajide Sanwo-Olu administration's commitment towards infrastructure upgrade in the state. The Lagos government has affected the closure of Mushi Main Market and demolished shanties in the Akpokpo areas of the state. Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, said it is a joint operation with the Monitoring, Enforcement and Compliance and Environmental Assessments Department of the State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources in a joint operation with the Lagos Environmental Sanitation Corps, LAGESC, popularly known as KAI. Wahab said plans are ongoing to remodel strategic areas in the state for youth and sports development and sanitize markets alike. He added that the operation is geared towards activating the removal of environmental infractions to make Lagos habitable for businesses, which stands in line with the Themes Plus agenda of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The Bank of Industry says it will be disbursing 3 categories of funding totaling 200 billion naira to support manufacturers and businesses across the country. The Development Bank in a statement noted that funds include the Presidential Conditional Grant Scheme, the FGN MSME Intervention Fund, and the FGN Manufacturing Sector Fund. The grant will be disbursed to a minimum of 1,000 beneficiaries, especially women and youths, across the 774 local government areas and the 6 council areas in the Federal Capital Territory. According to BOI, the fund will be used to support eligible micro, small and medium enterprises and serve as a cushion against the high cost of production, marketing and distribution of products arising mainly from infrastructure deficiencies and other ancillary factors involving MSMEs. The disbursement of the fund follows a commitment by the federal government to cushion the effect that recent economic reforms have had on businesses in the country. The National Assembly has been advised to review and implement rent control law to ease economic burden and reduce housing deficit in Nigeria. Former Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, who said this during his book launch titled Nigerian Public Discourse, The Interplay of Empirical Evidence and Hyperbole, charged state legislators to follow the steps already taken by the Lagos State government. Fashola noted that data with content is transferred to knowledge, which later results to wisdom through decisions that will assist in nation building. He had this to say.
I'm truly honored to have you all here to share the experience of what I call a self-inflicted literary adventure. Data can be subjective and it can be manipulated, but there's some data that you cannot run away from, as you have seen. Accurate data, therefore, will be beneficial for us. For me, a life without shortages of basic needs like food, like water, like shelter and energy will be a good life. And data is critical to this objective.
Also, President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, commended Fashola for his contribution and dedication to national service, saying that social media is a menace that needs to be regulated and channeled to influence positive decision making. On the spot, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said proper data analysis is important to developing national policy, as no nation
And that's why everybody on that panel said there must be a regulatory framework. So if we can come together to do that, I think we get all the positives. But as it is now, it's just a jungle.
An academic consultant and author, Okpeyemi Agbaji, who reviewed the book, applauded Fashola for his The federal government has disagreed with the organised labour on its threats to declare a nationwide strike in the next 14 days over the alleged failure of the government to implement the Memorandum of Understanding reached with the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress in October 2023. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris, in an interview, asked the unions to exercise restraint and allow the government to address grievances. Idris declined to comment on whether the government would seek a court injunction to stop the strike. After the removal of the fuel subsidy by President Bola Tinubu on May 29, 2023, the labor unions reached a 16-point agreement with the federal government on measures to cushion the pains of the subsidy removal on workers. Among other things, the government agreed to pay 35,000 naira to all federal workers beginning from last September, pending when a new national minimum wage is expected to have been signed into law. The federal government also pledged to provide 100 CNG buses nationwide to ease the high. The Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, has vowed to sustain the Operation Zero Potholes and Connect to Your Destination campaigns launched in December 2023. The campaigns were aimed at eradicating all potholes in the country's federal and state highways, as well as reconnecting stranded communities cut off from other areas by virtue of the failing status of the roads. FEMA Managing Director Emeka Agbasi said this at the end of a 3-day inspection of rehabilitated Port Harcourt Osikpo, Elele Imo State Border Road, Baima Junction, section of the East-West Road, and others in Rivers, Bayelsa, and the Ete Abak Road in Akwa Ibom State. Agbasi, who was represented by the Director, Road Maintenance and Management Services, FEMA, Headquarters, Abuja, Iniobong Usoro, said with the campaigns, bad roads would soon be a theme of the past in Nigeria. And on to foreign news. Ukraine's president has sacked the commander-in-chief of the country's armed forces, Valery Zaluzhnyi. It follows speculations about a rift between the president and General Zaluzhnyi, who has led Ukraine's war effort since the conflict began. Battle-hardened General Alexander Syrsky was announced as his replacement in a presidential decree. It is the biggest change to Ukraine's military leadership since Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022. President Volodymyr Zelensky said the high command needed to be renewed and that General Zaluzhnyi could remain on the team. Zaluzhnyi is a popular general trusted by Ukrainian soldiers and the public and has been something of a national hero. His recent approval ratings have been higher than those of Mr. Zelensky. Over to sports news, organisers of the Lagos City Marathon have confirmed that 81 elite runners from across the world will participate in the 9th edition of a race, which flags off at the National Stadium Surulere. According to the general manager of the race, Yusuf Ali, among the over 81 elite runners are 29 gold label women stars, which makes for a rich and world-class running field with the potential of unearthing a new course record tomorrow morning. Ali, who held the African men's long jump record for 27 years, noted that the confirmation of the strong field is positive for the race, especially as the organizers are preparing for the 10th edition of the race with the hope of uplifting it from its current gold label status to the platinum. Ali disclosed that the 9th Lagos City Marathon will be used to select qualifiers for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. And from the Nigeria International, Friday Ekpo has advised Super Eagles coach Osipe Siro to deploy another game plan ahead of Sunday's 2023 Africa Cup of Nations final match against Cote d'Ivoire. According to Ekpo, this is crucial for the Super Eagles to clinch the final against Cote d'Ivoire on Sunday, following their victory over the Bafana Bafana of South Africa in a semi-final clash. Evaluating the team's progress, Ekpo remarked on their noticeable improvements from one match to another, asserting that they are performing well and are in good position entering the final. It was our news at 10, but just before we go, slow down at road junctions, intersections and pedestrian crossings. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, formerly Twitter, Lagos Traffic 961, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961, watch us live on Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On YouTube, subscribe and watch all our previous programs and news on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration trained 280 unemployed youths for global certification in solar farm construction technology for the supply of electricity in Nigeria? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. In line with its policy on bridge maintenance and management and global quality assurance and quality control practices, the Lagos State Government has commenced routine maintenance works on pedestrian and vehicular bridges in the state. The federal government has disagreed with the organized labor and its threat to declare a nationwide strike in the next 14 days over the alleged failure of the government to implement the Memorandum of Understanding reached with the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress in October 2023. We also told you that Ukraine's president has sacked the commander-in-chief of the country's armed forces, Valery Zaluzhnyi. In sports, organizers of the Lagos City Marathon have confirmed that 81 elite runners from across the world will participate in the 9th edition of the race, which flags off tomorrow at the National Stadium Surulere. And for contact with the newsroom, send a message to Lagos Traffic Radio at lagosstates.gov.ng. That ends the news broadcast. It was compiled by Adeola Akindele. Thank you for listening, Lagos. My name is Mike James. Good morning.